Kim Jong-un says no to human rights agreements, and some in Hong Kong seek greater security controls. Plus, some Thais say it's not the right time for elections, and the Islamic State is detected in West Java. For Tuesday, February 24, 2015, this is the Asia Brief. A North Korean diplomat, wishing to remain anonymous, said Pyongyang will no longer honor its international human rights agreements. In May of last year, the communist government agreed to examine some recommendations made by the UN Human Rights Council. Among those was the recommendation to ratify UN human rights treaties, later offering to discuss human rights with the European Union. The unnamed diplomat claimed that Washington was using the human rights issue as a pretext to overthrow North Korea's political and social system. Last year, upon the release of the UN Commission of Inquiry report, the issue of North Korea's human rights record was placed on the agenda of the Security Council, with the possibility of the regime being referred to the International Criminal Court for crimes against humanity. Some European countries, including those who have close ties with Pyongyang, have recently distanced themselves from the DPRK and aligned with the United Nations. 2 Hong Kong delegates to China's parliament are seeking to implement more stringent security laws in the wake of the pro-democracy protests which paralyzed the city for nearly 2 months. 2003 was the last time Hong Kong tried to pass national security legislation. It resulted in some 500,000 people taking to the streets in opposition to the measure before it was ultimately withdrawn. Over a 3-day period, Master Poll surveyed 659 people in Thailand, and more than 2/3 said that the nation wasn't ready for elections. Only 28% felt the government had a handle on the situation and the nation could support a general election. That was in contrast to 71% who said that the country was not ready because political conflict still existed. The charter drafting process was not yet completed, and there were not suitable politicians to vote for. Of those polled, 83% said the country would be better off having the vote after the national reforms had been implemented. The Sukabumi Military District Command in West Java suspects ISIS is recruiting members in the area. According to our intelligence reports, there are several groups which are believed to have recruited and disseminated ISIS views here, and we are closely monitoring their existence, Sukabumi Military District Commander Lieutenant Colonel Serafuddin told Antara News. He said some members were local residents who had attempted to go to Syria but were unable to complete their travels due to government intervention. Be sure to keep up with more news from the region by following Asian News Weekly on Facebook and Twitter. You can also send an email to the show with your questions, your comments, and your feedback. Just drop a line to podcast@asiannewsweekly.net. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to this and other podcasts at asiannewsweekly.net. You can also do that in your favorite podcast application like iTunes or Stitcher. Subscribing is free, and when you do, the next episode is delivered automatically to you. Thank you for listening today. For the Asia Brief, I'm Steve Miller.